I am in my hotel room in the west coast of Ireland right now, and I am sitting in my bed, even though it's sunny outside and gorgeous. Um, I'm going through all kinds of emotions, and I was just thinking and thought, what a good time when I'm in that half dream state between waking and dreaming to talk about the subconscious mind. So a lot of hypnotherapists and stuff, they you can learn a lot about the subconscious mind through the hypnotherapy angle, but it'll always leave you a little short, and that's why it's good to have even more. Like you got to go deeper. The ancient shamans and the yogis had a deep understanding of the mind too, and so I was thinking of this concept of cycles and the cycles that we go through and that the planet goes through, and we don't always understand those in the subconscious work world. And so I'm going to just share a little. So the reason I'm going through a bit of a shift and wanting to blow up a bunch of things in my life right now is most likely because I'm coming up on a 7 year cycle. And these are things. There's like a big energy thing that happens at 7 years. Um, every 7 years, people cycle through change, and every 11 years and every 18 years, there are cycles. There are other cycles out there, but those are the important ones. There are probably 1,000 year cycles, but I'm not going to be here to see them. But so we go through our businesses go through cycles, our marriages go through cycles. And if we don't understand them, we try to get help for them. We try to shift, we try to heal the problem on the same level that it was created, and that never works. We have to heal a problem by getting to a next higher level or getting outside information or someone who has a little higher perspective. And anyway, so this knowledge about life cycles really comes from the yogis. That's where I've learned it. So a person who's coming up on a big cycle, whether it's a birthday cycle, usually it's birthdays, but I found sometimes it's not on like like 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. It's not always like that. Sometimes there's a 7 year cycle of like, I've lived in this town for 7 years. There's a whole shift in consciousness that happens every 7 years. A person's personality will completely change. And this is why often during those 7 year cycles, there's a lot of upheaval. If you're in a marriage, sometimes that can be the end of a marriage or a complete transition if you make it through. I'm always usually a fan of making it through because there's a lot of growth. Growth happens in relationships by going through rather than just starting over, because then you're always starting over. But anyways, that's a whole other topic. That is a deep and rich one, and we will get there. But 7 year cycles are a complete change in your personality, basically, and the things um, that you're thinking about, where your consciousness is. And then 11 years is usually a cycle of intelligence, which means, at 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, you're going to be coming up against themes like, how do I want to show up in the world? What kind of job or profession do I want to have? Where do I want to live? How do I present myself? What kind of a legacy am I going to leave? That kind of thing comes up at the 11 year cycles. And the 18 year cycles have a lot to do with the physical body, physical health, energy, metabolism. Food is really important. First 18 years of your life, you can eat whatever you want and not have a lot of consequences. That's actually the time when you're supposed to be figuring out how to eat. If you don't learn it, you'll get another 18 years. After that, if you haven't figured out how to eat in the first 36 years, after that, you're just digesting. And it's a lot of resources that your body could be using to do other things. That's why a lot of people start to feel the middle age, like a lot of people say it's at 40, that they got that waste, or they their metabolism slow down, but it really happens at 36. And it doesn't catch up to them till they're 40. So anyways, that happens. So there's these big cycles. And then there are clusters of like 7, 11, and 18-year cycles that all come really close together, and it can feel just like years of muck that you're going through. It doesn't always have to feel heavy, but it definitely will come with lots of change. That it will be heavier the more you resist and the less of a practice you have. If you have a practice, if you're conscious and awake and aware, it can be smoother. Even if you're awake and aware, it can still be a lot of upheaval. So yeah, right now I'm basically feeling like I want to blow up all these things in my life. Not like in a bad way, like I'm not angry. It's just that I've been doing kind of the same thing for 7 years. Like I've been on this track following these passions, and now it's suddenly like, no, I have these other I don't want to spend my next 7 years doing this. I want to completely go this way. Sometimes it's like I want to have a family. Sometimes it's I want to have a career. Sometimes it's I want to shift back into the passion I had when I was young. Maybe I forgot that and I'm going to come back to it. Who knows what it is, but things shift, and it can be atomic. But the point is conflict is just growth trying to happen, and we can use that deeper understanding of these cycles. And then there's also cycles in consciousness. There's the collective unconscious, and it goes through its cycles. So sometimes it's like there's something in the water, like all of a sudden there's a lot of change globally, and it could be a collective cycle. But the important thing is to not get knocked off of your rails, and keeping up a daily practice no matter what, or keeping up your work of doing your unconscious work is no matter what is really, really important. And as like a healer and a space holder, if that's you, you have to have your own healer and space holder, right? Every good hypnotherapist has one. Every good therapist has one. So that's super important. Also, it's important to realize that healing isn't everything. It's not all the work. Like I spent a lot of early years in my life, not early, but just since I got on my healing journey about 15 years ago, just being obsessed with healing. But when we're always thinking about how to fix ourselves, then we never feel whole. And so it's important to have those other things that you do that also do reach a healing subconscious level, but where you're not focused on it, like art and creativity. And maybe it's just a practice that takes you out of your mind. If it takes you more into your mind, it can be challenging. But mowing the lawn or having like these rituals of that get you present, even if it's just blessing your food, that gets you present to your food, or if it's I don't know. There's a lot of them. There's some really beautiful ones, and I hope you send me your thoughts and ideas on that and your suggestions. But anyways, just want to put that out there, that you or clients or you yourself, anyone watching, if you're in one of those cycles, it can be challenging, and but it's an opportunity. It means that like life is ready to give you the next thing, and you're just feeling that, right? Like you're feeling like something's got to change, and it's going to be beautiful. You just have to remember, you don't have to like change everything. You don't have to burn down your relationships and walk away. No, you got to walk through the fire and get not burned down. But you can do it. And honestly, like you get to these other sides of these transitions, and then it's smooth for years and years. And then you come up against them again. But there is respite. but then it's life. We're always going to be growing. The spectrum of progression is vast. Why do? Yes, we're grateful for that in the moment. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but um, but then just go put on your bathing suit and go jump in the cold water and wake up again and realize that like you have a body, you have breath, and while you still have it, time is that currency. Um, it's really important to remember our relationships. I think that's what comes up in this transition is our relationships with family, with friends, with our soul. Really, that's probably the crux of it is our relationship with our soul at this time. The soul is crying out for something, and we don't need to fix anything about ourselves, but we do need to pay attention to the soul, which is always whole, will always guide us in the right way. All right, peace out. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope to post again soon, and love you all, whoever you are. Feel free to comment or message me if you have any questions, and I hope this was helpful.